A musical, a musical, and nothing's as amazing as a musical. With song and dance, and sweet romance, and happy endings happening by happenstance. Bright lights, stage fights, and a dazzling chorus. You want to be great, then you gotta create a musical.
I don't know. I find it hard to believe people would actually pay to see something like this.
It's Joe Thompson performing from a show coming up at the Barrow-Civic Theater, Something Rotten. And he joins us this morning along with James McGinnis, Andrew Fensky joining us as well. Good morning. Good to see you guys.
Good morning, Lord. Thank you.
Something Rotten at the Barrow-Civic Theater. First of all, before we get into the show, how good does it feel to be back on stage? Good. Excellent.
Like coming home.
Seriously, I mean, you hear the audience, and there's been some shows in the last several months, but you hear the folks who have gone back to the shows saying how great it is to see a show again. And Barrow's had a show, Academy Theater's had a show, but to be back on stage and performing, you guys excited?
Very much so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Overwhelmingly.
Well, Something Rotten. What's the show about? Who wants to take that one on?
I can start, and
Okay.
then someone can take over. So it's about these two brothers who are playwrights, and they are trying to really make it, but they're kind of getting squandered by Shakespeare, who James plays.
Nice.
So the bottom brothers are just trying to one-up Shakespeare all the time. And so Nick Bottom goes and sees a soothsayer, Nostradamus, who Joe plays, to see how can he do better than Shakespeare. And the soothsayer says, I'll let you take over, soothsayer.
He sees into the future and sees the future of theater being dominated by musicals. And then the tale ensues that's really just a complete catastrophic caper that melds that Doc Brown would have warned us about. the future colliding with the present and the past.
Now, so what makes this really funny? I mean, this takes place late 1500s?
Renaissance, yeah. So late 1500s, probably 50. I mean, there's not a specific time given, but
So your character pitches this, right? And it's like, what?
yeah, right.
So the reaction is quite funny.
on the heels of the opening of Romeo and Juliet, we're talking about Seussical.
Now, have you heard of this show before getting involved, or is this the first you've heard of Something Rotten?
I had heard of it. I guess it hit Broadway in 2015, and there's some pretty big names in it at the time. Brian Darcy James was the lead. He was nominated for a Tony. The show was nominated for several Tonys. It's one of the funniest shows I've ever been a part of in terms of just absolute I mean, there are a lot of inside jokes, like for theater lovers. It's wonderful for people who go to see a lot of shows, who like musicals, who like Shakespeare. I mean, there are just a ton of inside jokes regarding both. But that doesn't mean it's not funny for somebody who doesn't know anything. I mean, because it's broad enough and it hits on all levels. But then the inside jokes are really just mine gold for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Andrea, for you, you're somebody who spends a lot of time behind directing and putting shows on. How does it feel to be on stage performing?
I've really missed it. I'm really glad to be on stage again. I always like directing too, but there's definitely that part you miss about being on stage, so I'm very excited for the opportunity.
Yeah, it must be fun for you just kind of let somebody else handle all of that and you kind of just let yourself go and enjoy it.
Absolutely, and I love working with other directors, take ideas from them and learn from them, and Judy Millar is a fabulous director. She's doing a wonderful job.
And we'll get into the cast here, or the crew part of it, but you did mention Judy Millar directing the show, somebody who's not an unknown around here, so we'll get into that in just a moment. James, for you, you've been on the stage several times. How does this role compare to others you've played?
This role is kind of on the tails of a few things I've played, but not in a while. Like, lately I've kind of been playing himbos, and that's not Shakespeare. He's not a very nice guy. He's very full of himself, and it was a nice return home, you know?
Yeah. Well, is it fun to take on a character, though, and kind of just say, hey, I can let go and just do something kind of wild with this?
Yeah, definitely. That's one of my favorite things about theater is, I don't know, I like to play them the further away from me they are, and I don't think I'm like Shakespeare, but I like to pretend I am sometimes.
All right, Joe, let's go into why that's not. No, just joking. Joe, you invited me to pop in last night, and I was there probably, I don't know, half hour, and it was fantastic. I was laughing. I was trying not to shake with the camera, but I'm going to put some of the footage up on the screen, and I just kind of talk about the costumes, the sets. This is a lot of fun. This was really enjoyable to see, and I only caught a couple minutes of it. How much went into the costumes in the sets?
Well, the costumes were designed by the gentleman in the purple that you see right there, Ryan Ingram. He's the costumer for the Erie Playhouse.
Wow.
And so this show was his COVID project. So he sat at home and labored lovingly over these costumes, over the spring, summer, and fall of 2020. So I mean, the detail is phenomenal. I feel like I'm wearing a drapery. It's like really fine, coarse, heavy cloth. I mean, there's a lot of, it's substantial. It's wonderful.
And it looks like a large cast, too.
Oh, yeah. I think there's, 35 people in the cast?
I
Something
believe
like that.
that's right.
That is a lot. So musically, who's in charge of music?
A gentleman named Ryan Carter. He's a young man. I mean, yesterday was his 23rd birthday.
Oh, wow.
He's a music teacher over at Brockway Elementary.
Secondary vocal music, and he is a Franklin native. I believe he graduated from Franklin High School.
Last year.
He's the man.
Oh, he's very talented.
Senior project.
No, he's very, very talented, yeah, and he's done a wonderful job.
Looks like a lot of dancing and choreography. Who's doing that?
The one and only Taylor Nelson. Taylor's dances are phenomenal. Seeing how she did it firsthand, because she lives in the same house as me.
Yeah.
She did a wonderful job, and she really tells a tale through dance, and it's marvelous. I mean, I think there's 12 dance numbers in this.
Wow.
It's a huge production.
And if you look, it's not like simple stuff. I mean, there's some really complex dance moves going on.
Oh, no. Taylor doesn't do simple.
Yeah. So when did you begin rehearsals?
I was mid-May.
May 17th, something like that.
Okay. And the show is taking place this weekend and the following weekend.
Yes.
Okay. And it's at the Barrow-Civic Theater in Franklin. It is called Something Rotten, presented by the Franklin Civic Operetta Association. We mentioned that just how exciting it is to be back and having the lights back on at our local theaters. And again, this is a show I think the audience will just absolutely love. Rated PG-13, though.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely. I mean, definitely a strong PG-13 on that. I mean, my kids are gonna go, but.
But it's really entertaining, really funny. It'd be a great date night. Come on out, grab something to eat, and then go to a show and just enjoy local theater again. The cast made up of folks from all over the region, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, from Clarion to Grove City.
Wow.
There's a bunch of us, though. There's a bunch of Titusville folks. There's 8 of us, 7 of us. The 3 of us plus Taylor.
And Josh.
Devlin, and
Chris Warner,
and Maddie,
and Maeve Wakefield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a big contingency.
Yeah, and then your Franklin Standards. Nick Hess was running around yesterday. I don't think he's in the show.
He's
right?
our lead costumer.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. He was like really bouncing around.
It
Imagine.
wouldn't. He wouldn't. I mean, he wouldn't be in the building if he wasn't. You know?
Are you guys having fun with the Barrow and the folks there?
It's my first show there. I'm enjoying
really?
it, yeah.
Mine too.
It's not my first show at the Barrow, but I really like doing shows there a lot.
Now, Judy, did she just direct a show? Did she do Elf?
Actually, I did. Yeah, Judy and I did Elf together in
Okay.
December. I did the music for Elf, and Taylor also did Elf. She choreographed it.
Oh, that's great. Now, was it when the announcement came out that this was the show? Was it easy for folks to come out and want to be a part of this, or were you calling up some friends and saying, "Hey, come try out"?
I mean, I think it's pretty apparent on stage. You know, people came from rather a pretty good distance to come do the show. I mean, it's a 35-person cast. I don't think there were many phone calls made, to my knowledge.
Yeah, that's
It's
great.
like, it's like boom.
People excited to get back and perform.
Yeah.
Let's do this real
Yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
You're watching the Morning Drill on Stream Television and on Armstrong's Neighborhood Channel and listening to it on the Allegheny Newstalk Sports Network. Something Rotten at the Barrow-Civic Theater, July 8th, 9th, and 10th. Also the 15th, 16th, and 17th. The 10th and 17th are Sunday shows at 2 o'clock. Curtains will go up at 7:30 on the 8th, 9th, 15th, and 16th. Folks can get tickets at the box office, or can they get them in advance?
They can get them from the Barrow-Civic Theater's website.
Okay, excellent.
And I believe if they go to the Barrow-Civic Theater's Facebook page, I think they're going to be doing a giveaway today.
Oh, really? Okay, so check out the Facebook page and see. Joe, for you, what went into the role? Any research, or how did you approach your part?
This is the first show I've done. Well, I did a little Shop of Horrors at Titusville back in 2017, and other than that, other than that, I haven't done anything on stage with regard to like a theatrical production since 2004.
Really?
Yeah, it's all been, if I don't have a guitar in front of me, it's, not much I haven't done much else besides just music. So what went into me doing this? I don't know. It was weird because a lot of the muscle memory came right back. Honestly, I have a degree in music theater. I studied theater, so a lot of the like the inside jokes and the references are they just tickle me silly. But I mean, I had to do some stretching. In terms of like actually touching my toes.
Yeah. There's a lot of movement.
Yeah, there is. But other than that, basically delving into my, my more freakish side, which isn't a far cry from the actual character. So it's.
But could you feel, is the character different now than it was when you first auditioned for it?
Oh, certainly, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, There was a while at rehearsal I was doing this Kevin Costner thing, where I would start the show in one accent and end it in a different accent. So it would start out, and I had a very high British accent, and by the end of it, I was talking like I was from Southie.
I've never questioned Robin Hood at all, and the back and forth accent. But yes, Kevin Costner. Although I think Morgan Freeman came out and defended him at one time.
Did he?
Yes, exactly.
Andy Dufresne.
James, for you, how much did the character change from auditioning to now? And maybe how much does the costume and the makeup and all that play a role in how the character develops?
When I went into it, I really, like Joe was saying, I didn't know what voice Shakespeare had. He kind of had the Queen's English for a little bit and sort of intermittently, and then he kind of had an Austin Powers thing, and I just couldn't decide sort of which thing to do. And what I ended up settling on was like a David Bowie kind of.
Excellent.
Like I've been watching The Labyrinth a lot.
Yes, yeah.
Try and get that. I tried to still leave some Austin Powers. It didn't work. It really.
If
all
this sounds
came together. intriguing,
by the way, come out to the show. And
Yeah,
see
Shakespeare's.
Sorry, baby, I didn't know it was your turn.
Yeah. See, I like that intermingling. It didn't work.
Yeah.
But I tried. It really all came together though when I put the costumes on, which, as you were saying, Ryan Ingram, he like, oh, it shows that he put his whole being into them. They're incredible.
Wow.
I feel like a lizard every time I put the costume on.
He is wearing lizard print pants.
So, yeah, which, you know, it lends to the whole Bowie kind of thing.
Jim Morrison, Lizard King meets David Bowie.
Goblin
Freddie
King.
Mercury.
This is just fascinating on its own here. So you'll have to see it for yourself. Andrea, for you, what you know, again, the costumes and when you see the set pieces come together, how much does that influence what you put into the character?
Well, it made a big difference for me. I don't want to give too much away, but I am not always a woman. So the costumes are definitely a big difference for me. Like I said, I don't want to give away too much of the play. But
Character B is he, her, how.
Okay, good. And that'll be in the program? Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent. Well, that's got to be fun for you to play a role like that. That's pretty extreme then.
Yes, B is definitely out of my comfort zone, but she is so much fun. She is so spunky. She just wants to support her husband who has these wild ideas, and you know, she's kind of like this feminist in the Renaissance period. She says, why can't I do this? You know, who cares that I'm a woman? I can go out and make money. I can help you, and she doesn't care. So it's very fun.
It's a very heart-touching performance as well.
It is. I actually got to see it yesterday, and it was great because you're laughing and you're thinking, and it kind of brought a little bit of everything when you're doing that number, and it's wonderful. And again, there's a lot of things that are just really funny that's built into that. So check it out. You mentioned Judy Millard directing. How much does she let you explore the character? It sounds like she, as somebody who acts herself, she kind of understands, hey, let's give the actors room to explore a little bit.
Judy gives you the keys to the kingdom and basically says, it's up to you to make this thing scream. And she hasn't had to pull anybody back, and I've tested that limit. And you know, she's very, very much like, make it your own, go as far as you can with it. And I think people who work for her really appreciate that. She doesn't nitpick. She doesn't give you line readings. She lets you try stuff out. She lets you fail, because only by failing do you understand what works. You know, on stage.
Yeah.
Only by failing do I understand what works.
Well, that's why we do this show every day, because constant fail. But no, that's wonderful though. I mean, that's got to be exciting for an actor to go in and
it is.
Kind of,
it's liberating too, and it develops a nice bond of trust between the artistic staff and the actors, because they feel like, you know, they're empowered. And it's like, it's our show. We're doing this together.
Andrea, we'll start with you. Do you have a favorite line or scene?
Oh, there are so many. This show is wonderful. I don't think I can pick a favorite.
James, how about you?
I have a favorite line of yours that I quote all the time. Let me get your boys some meat. I just casually say it to myself all the time. I've been taking away, like, oh, it's good to see me, isn't it? Making that part of my daily lingo.
It's nice when you can steal from a character and it becomes you a little bit, right?
They live a little bit too much in here sometimes.
Yeah. How about you, Joe?
My favorite scene is kind of the culmination. It's the right before the 11 o'clock number, and all of the gobbledygook that the soothsayer has polluted Nick Bottom's mind with, in getting this play to be written, all comes together on stage. And so you've got snippets of Hamlet with the Sound of Music, and the Music Man, and Cats, and
Oh, wow.
it is just it is absolute hilarity, and it is ridiculous. And it's my favorite part of the show. I'm not even on stage during it. I'm backstage listening, and I'm always like,
That's great.
he said McCavity, you know.
Something Rotten at the Barrow-Civic Theater. It is July 8th, 9th, and 10th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. Again, presented by the Franklin Civic Operetta Association. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Break a
Thank you
leg.
for
Have a
having
blast.
us.
Thank you.
Musical.
I don't know. I find it hard to believe people would actually pay to see something like